This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present a collection of fandoms and exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content, and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from the Daughters of the Moon series by Lynn Ewing, with mentions of Buffy, Roswell, and Pretty Little Liars. For full list, please see show notes. There's also conversation surrounding family loss.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to ACOFAE, your weekly deep dive into the fantasy, literature, and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are continuing the discussion with The Lost One by Lynn Ewing,
which is book 6 of the Daughters of the Moon series that Laura Marie has so graciously entered into our lives. And, you know, I love that we're back to having a girl on the cover. I love that we're back with our FMC. And I know the last time we covered this, we were covering book 5 specifically with Stanton. And I feel like we should pose a question to the audience. You know, you have books 1 through 4. We're with Vanessa. We're with Catty. We're with Jimena. We're with Serena. We're like with our girls. And then all of a sudden we have a cover with the boy on it. And we're like, I don't even want to read this. I want to go straight back into the girls. But you can't, can you?
You cannot. You have to, you have to read the boy book. You have to read Stanton's book, because what happens at the end of Stanton's book directly sets up everything that happens in this book, which is kind of weird, because you look at this and for the first half of it, you're like, no, that's not right. Like, this is something totally new, something totally different. But it all ties together. Like, Book 6 ties together with the 5 other books of our main plot so far. And I mean, obviously I really love this series, but something that I really appreciate now in the year 2026, even though these books came out in the year 2001. Oh my God, 2001. But these books are wonderful physical copies.
I love them. They're great for your purse. They're great for just carrying in a bag. They hold up really, really well. I know when we first started reading, I had thrown them in my bag before a Harry Styles concert, reading it in line. They're also gorgeous to look at. Laura, you had even said, I mean, we've talked about this, I feel like, on more than one occasion. This would be so great as a teen series, especially peak CW, peak the WB. The photographer has been the same the entire time. I mean, what's also nice about these, they're not only are they great physical copies, that's the only way you can read them. They don't have them in an ebook. They don't have them in an audio version. And granted, I know we always talk about accessibility, but this is also a really interesting collection that this writer has had the series with Disney Hyperion from 2000 to 2007, and then add into 2008 with some of the spinoffs that she started but did not come to conclusions.
Shout out Susa Scalora, who is the photographer that does these fantastic covers. All of them are just absolutely stunning, and they are the thing that drew me to them in the first place. The first cover with Vanessa. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this book, Jess, as you said, we have to read the boy book to get here. Now, when we do get here, though, this is the epitome of cold open. This is a cold open, on top of a cold open. Cause it's boom, boom. Who is this? Who is this? And before we get into that, I want to talk about at least 2 TV shows that also did this trope of like being well established into your series. You have, your core group, everything has been going on. They are well established. They have their own dynamics. A new character is introduced. And the first one that came to mind, and Jess, I know it came to your mind too, is Dawn from Buffy. And I want to bring that up because that was the first time Laura Marie, I like questioned my viewership of a show that I was like obsessed with, because that introduction of Dawn, spoiler, I guess, for Buffy, but like that introduction of Dawn into Buffy is done. And you were just like, wait, what? Wait, hey, hang on.
You feel like you're being gaslit. Like did I completely zone out for the previous season?
Has she been here the whole time? Like, no way. And you actually doubt yourself as the viewer. And like, that was my first experience with that. And it really stuck with me, this like uneasy feeling of just like, this is a new experience in my television watching career that I have not had before. And like, how amazing is that? And my other contribution to this conversation will be, and less on the nose. I think Dawn is really like kind of on the nose and a true, like kind of cold open, I guess, cold ending there, of a character. But the introduction of Tess in the original Roswell on the CW kind of fits the bill for me too, because not only are we well established, but like we have gone through trials and tribulations and romance and all of this stuff. And then in walks Tess and you're just like, okay. And she's like, hi, I'm Tess. And then it kind of cuts and you're like, okay. So my last contribution to this conversation before we get into the book will be, adding on to what Jessica Marie has said about how this would make a fantastic teen show. It would. Oh my God, would it? However, I do think that for something like this to work, we would have to go back to the old TV model, right?
Yeah.
You have to go back to the old TV model. You have to go back to the long seasons, the filler episodes, the character development, the mid-season finales, the cut scenes, the things like that to drive up the drama.
The leaving at the commercials.
Yes.
Yeah. You need the suspense. And this was like, again, old TV model. I know we were talking about this earlier today, where you're like, you have the commercials, you have this like the suspense, you have the weekly cadence for it to be released. You have it so you're so excited about watching episodes again.
Absolutely. And especially like with this in particular, Donnie Davy does the makeup. Like, oh my gosh, you can just see it. It's set in LA. Like you can just see it. Like, oh my gosh, going through this again, I got completely sucked in. I am sucked into a time, a place, a culture, like the early 2000s. Like there are no cell phones here.
Yeah. Like, I mean, even when I love a teen night. We are part of a generation that had teen night. And having it referenced here every time we have these books and what they're wearing and the fashion, I mean, it really just kind of sucks you in. And, and to an extent, I know that Y2K is very heavily influenced in today's pop culture and style right now. And I think it could be so seamlessly picked up because you have so many people saying, oh my gosh, was it really like this? And it really was. And I know that maybe dates us a little bit, but it's exciting. And you have timelines. I know that's something that you love in this series, but this one goes so fast. And again, it ties into a filler episode, what can happen, what can be portrayed. I can't gush about this series enough because it's all the things that you remember through nostalgia and whimsy, but with powers and your daughters of the moon, your goddesses, and you're dealing with paranormal. It's all of the best things in one.
And there, you know, there's stakes. There's actual stakes. Like Catty, I mean, recap, Catty is gone. Like gone. We are without her. We start here. No, before we even get there, I like this book because there are essentially three competent, like, parental figures. Like, you know, you got Maggie, and then you have Mary, and then you have, what's her name, like Helen or Ellen, yeah, at the apartment. Hannah? Yeah, Hannah. And, you know, they're competent. They look out for our main character. They are welcoming. They are nothing but open and accepting. And in the case of Mary, apologetic and remorseful, and doubles down on the welcoming and the love. And I just find that to be so refreshing, because this could so easily fall into like a Pretty Little Liars. Oh my God, like the parents. And for a lot of this, like Vanessa's mom, like the parents are not super involved, right? But like they're not. But here we have three examples of really nice mother figures. And I think that's important, because this is all about like the goddess, Selene, the moon, female togetherness. And, you know, this one in particular is all about like finding yourself, finding your place, finding your family, and reuniting with your found family. And
you took the words out of my mouth, and like the families we create, because I feel like, I mean, cold open, obviously spoilers for this whole book and the series up until now. You knew what you were walking into reading that prologue. You're just like hurting. I mean, you don't even need to know. And I feel like at this point, you're also already assuming who is involved. And then, like, even though, I mean, we have our FMC for this book, Tianna, who has like a memory loss. She's going through amnesia, and she understands that there is a foster family who eventually takes her in, and that she was chosen by her foster family too, to say like, we've had some difficult teens. I mean, teenagers are kind of like the hardest demographic, especially in the foster system. And rightfully so. You have so many emotions at so many times, and there's no routine going on. And Tianna is dealing with loss, but she's unsure of what that loss is as she's piecing things together. And Mary is a constant for her and is patient for her and with her, especially as she is reading formal documents from her school saying like, she has a bad habit. She's a habitual runaway. She might have to be committed, because she's not, like, the stories that she's saying and that she's finding out that she's sharing are very truthful, but they're truthful to people who believe in the paranormal and understand that not everything is what it seems to be, as we know with the goddesses, specifically with Atrexes, and how Tianna's describing them. And Mary, the first thing she was like, we didn't believe you until we did.
Jessica Marie, something that I really like about this book, of course, there's a lot of things that I really like about this book, but there is a very, very subtle Guy Fawkes, for us, you and me and ACOFAE listeners, a V for Vendetta reference. When Tianna, I mean, we'll introduce Tianna, but Tianna has to go to high school, man. Tianna, it is November 5th, 2001, and Tianna is trying to remember on the 5th of November.
I didn't make this connection. I'm such a dummy.
No, you are absolutely not. It is just like a throwaway kind of like date situation that Tianna is having a conversation with Hannah in the car. She's driving her to school, and she's like, do you know the date? Do you know the month? Do you know the day? And she goes, the 5th of November. What, did you mess up your homework? She's like, the 5th of November, the 5th of November. I was like, remember. So I just thought that was like super fun, and it was something that
intentional. It has to be.
It has to kind of just be like a ha ha ha, because as you mentioned, our main trope here is memory loss. So we are desperately like trying to remember. So let's introduce Tianna. Tianna. Cold open, Tianna, she's a child and there are men in her home. Her parents have been murdered and her little sister have been brutally murdered. She escapes and runs away. Those two men continue to chase her for the rest of her life. That is why she is a quote, quote, habitual runaway. And we cold open again to Tianna, like waking up in an apartment. You know, she's clutching a pipe. She doesn't know who she is, where she is, the date or the time, and what she's supposed to be doing. She's dirty and her backpack is full of stuff and she is scared and she has this instinct of like she has to run. And that's terrifying because we know like later on we find out that she's a 1986 baby. So 1986, 2001, like do the math. We are teenagers here. And that also kind of like just puts everything in perspective. This is LA. This is, no cell phones, just getting driver's license, like really set the tone.
And being resourceful with the tools that you have. I think that's something that, we always praise about in this series, particularly because there's typically all this communication. There's over communication. There's planning. And checking in. We meet some characters and, Michael specifically, hey, don't forget, I have the band on Thursday night. You're still coming, right? Like that's how you did your check-ins.
And he reminds her like a few times. He's like, I just want to remind you about Thursday. Like, you're a great dancer, all this stuff. So Tianna, just how did we feel about this this double cold open and this introduction to a new character? Were you like totally on board? Were you feeling uneasy? Like, what was your feeling as a first time reader?
As a first time reader, I was immediately on board with the prologue because now we're like, and then I think with the second cold open, it's immediately, I feel like as a reader, you're picking up the context that there is memory loss right here. And again, I remember when we were talking about book 5, we have, no head, not dead. They're all believing that Catty is more or less dead, but we know Catty can kind of go through space and time. I already remembered that speculation that I was like, okay, she's probably stuck. She's in limbo. There's something going on there. And now we have this person who has memory loss. And I think I even guessed something there. I was like, there has to be another person. I think we were talking about in book 5 in our episode that there has to be something along the ways that's going to help us put the spell back together. And so I was excited. I don't think I was lost, but I think that's intentional because you're lost with your main character. She doesn't know who she is. Therefore, you don't know who she is. You're just kind of putting context clues together. So it was very much here's the journey. Here's what we're going through. Here's our timeline. Oh, she's trying to piecemeal things together. And I know we'll get there later. I am surprised how long it took for us to get there. Like every check-in, I was like, oh, we're halfway through. Oh, we're more than halfway through. When are we finding out? And spoiler, not spoiler, she's still finding out by the end of this book too.
And that is one of the things that I kind of find realistic because like these are children. These are children, specifically Tianna. Tianna is a suspicious, street smart kind of person that is very wary of new people. So something that I really enjoyed about this book is that we have this outsider perspective on our main characters, which I find just fascinating because not only do we get Tianna's completely unbiased perspective of Catty, Serena, and Jimena, but we also get Corinne's perspective and her hush hush kind of colored, like perspective of like, I'm jealous, but not like super jealous, but I am jaded, but not like super, she's got her own kind of like thing going on there. And it is just fun to see what the gossip was about our three main characters, because that is not something that we are really exposed to in the other books. We know that other people are talking about them, but it's not something that like we're given details about. So for Tianna to come to the conclusion that like they're witches, and for Corinne to be like, they killed Catty. They were doing spells. They were doing magic. There were fires on the street. It went bad. They killed Catty. And even Michael is like, I mean, they act like she's dead, and so does her mom. Like, I don't know.
So does that. Oh yeah. And Michael is saying like they have like a memorial for Catty of where they lost, I use in air quotes, her. And it's the secret that nobody wants to talk about, but then they're all really engaging and interactive at school. So people are just like, do they not care that one of their best friends died? It is so, again, from an outsider's perspective, because they're also the people who are saying, oh my gosh, they're the most attractive people in the school. Because it's never the most, because they don't say they're the most popular. They're the most attractive. Everybody just kind of gravitates to them. And then you came along and you're throwing everybody for a loop because you're like, ooh. And it's interesting because I feel like sometimes like they're trying to pit them against each other, but I think that is natural. I actually had that happen to a girl who moved into like my high school at one point, and everybody try to put us against each other. And now even still we'll like give a quick DM or give a quick, like she's wonderful. We've caught up like a handful of times, but because she was the new girl and came in sophomore year, everybody was trying to be like, oh, there's another Jessica. Like, that means there's going to be beef. And I'm like, and we honestly hash it out. Or people are saying this is funny, and she's great. But, I find it interesting because Tianna doesn't know. She doesn't know what she doesn't know. All she knows is that she's lost. She doesn't even know she was in school. Hannah had to be like, the bus just left. You're clearly not somebody who goes to the private schools. This is the local public school. And she's on defense with all of the questions too, rightfully so. And I say she being Tianna, how do you know where I go to school? How do you know who I am? How do you know this? She's doing it in defense and also doing it for information for herself too, to maybe put something together.
And she doesn't know like where she is, because it is clear when she wakes up that apartment is not hers. It is bare. There's nothing there. It's clear she broke in through the window. She has to like kind of lie to Hannah. And so when she goes to school and she talks to Michael, she meets Derek again. She meets Corinne. She kind of gets the lay of the land. The day is over and she does not know where to go or what to do. And then Vanessa comes trotting over like, hey, bitch, get changed for soccer. And Tiana's like, what?
Well, and because, again, all she's been told and reminded of up until this point, oh, you were out dancing at the teen club last night, and all the boys like you, including Vanessa's boyfriend, who's giving you a lot of attention. So now Tianna is already thinking, oh, my God, and this boy is hot. I'm into him. He clearly seems into me. And now the girlfriend is coming over here to, like, come at me. And that last thing on Vanessa's mind, she's like, we got a job. I'm a competitive person. We got to kick ass in this soccer game. And Tianna is like, wait, this is not how I thought the day was going to go.
Well, and that it just kind of doubles, because after she gets into the locker room and she can't find her locker, she doesn't know what to do. And Jimena is in there, and Jimena clocks her right away. She's like, oh, you can't remember your locker combination? That's crazy. We have key locks here. What do you mean? All of this stuff. And then Tianna starts to like unravel a little bit. And Jimena eventually like sees her as she's starting to change, and Tianna is covered in bruises and like footprints, like bruising on her. And Jimena comes over to her and is like, look, essentially, I'm sorry. I see what is going on. I will talk to you. I know what being on the run looks like. I know what taking a beating looks like. I know what being scared looks like. You can talk to me. I know something is going on. Like, I will be here for you. And Tianna, though, again, guard up, because she is seeing all of this bruising for the first time as well. So she's like, oh my God, what happened to me? So when Jimena comes over and is like, support, 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 Tianna is like, oh my God, leave me alone. Leave me alone. What is happening? I just need privacy, a little bit of safety, and some time, right? Because she also is like, I don't know how to play soccer. What? How am I going to play soccer? But she does, and she's fantastic at soccer, and that is like a muscle memory thing. And throughout all of this, she's having this like this it's like a misunderstanding trope, right? Like, she is convinced that Michael is like into her, and she thinks Michael is really hot, but Derek is like chomping at her heels all the time, and she's getting like frustrated with him, and he doesn't understand why she's acting like that. So it's like this miscommunication trope between the three of them, that by the end of it, you're like, oh, you're like 16, obviously that's what was.
You're 16 and nobody knows that you have memory loss.
Yeah, like of course that's what's going on. It's just very fun, like how that kind of wraps up. You're like, oh my gosh, some things really are just normal teenage bullshit, right? Yeah. Sometimes it really just is that, but sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it isn't. So the thing about Tianna is that kind of throughout the book, Tianna and us, the reader, are learning about her, right? Because she's lost on so many, like Catty is lost, but Tianna is also lost, and we, the reader, are lost. Everybody's lost. So Tianna is having like a little bit of a fight on the field with Michelle. She's like, you know what? I wish you fucking fall down and break your goddamn ankle, bitch. And she does. And Michelle falls down and she breaks her ankle. And Tianna is like, oh my God. Again, don't give me any power. Don't give me a whiff of power, because a broken ankle to somebody being mean to me is the least of what I would do.
I know, and mean to you intentionally, because that is the one thing. And I think it was again, we're learning with Tianna where Vanessa sticks up for Tianna too. Like, she is a girl's girl. She supports her team. She's also going to call you out on your bullshit, which she would have been quick to do if Tianna didn't show up to play. But I mean, I'm not mad about it, but you know, Michelle's like, I don't know what you did, but you did it. And everybody goes, you're crazy, Michelle. We've been watching the whole thing, and she has been at least 10 feet away from you. And I just think of that 80s movie Teen Witch. I know they're not witches. I know the Daughters of the Moon aren't witches, but I would be pinpointing things left, right, and center too.
My God, especially if I were 16. Oh my God, I was evil.
You were not evil.
Oh my God, I was evil at 16. So imagine me with power. Tyrant. So Tianna has also done some other things too. Like, she's being chased by Stanton and Mason, and she makes the fence like rungs like contract so that they can't climb it, and then makes it like slippery so that like, they can't get over, and she escapes that way too. So she is slowly like kind of acknowledging and learning that she has like telekinesis. She can move objects with her mind, like badass, right? So that is also something that she's dealing with, which is so much for a child to be dealing with, and she is doing remarkably well. So it is, while she is in the nurse's office because she got a bloody nose with Michelle, because that's how this all started, that Tianna writes down her official address that is on her like school records, And she goes to that. And that is how we meet Mary.
Which, again, we love Mary. And Mary is like, let us know how we can help. We believe you now. We saw what you were describing to the police that nobody believed you. So we understand that you can't go to the police because they're not going to believe you. They're going to commit you, if anything, because that's what her school records say. Flight risk, might need to go and be admitted to the children's hospital.
Yeah. And it's such a like kind of sweet, sad situation too, because like the first time that Tianna goes to the house, she's like really confused. It's like this beautiful Tudor house. She doesn't really know what's going on. The room that is like obviously for her is like totally spotless, but the closet is clearly hers. So she like swaps some stuff out. And it isn't until like the second time when she comes back that she sees everybody. And it's heartbreaking because Tianna goes into the house and she goes, Mom, Dad, because she has memory loss. So she doesn't know that her parents have been brutally murdered since she was a child. And so she's walking into this house that she has a key for. And she's just like overcome with like hope, like maybe. And that's the thing with Tianna too, is that she is like kind of like boundless in hope as well. Because I mean, she's always going into this other house. When she goes back to her apartment with where Hannah is, the night that Hannah is doing her seance, she is like, you know, maybe my mom and dad are there and like maybe they brought dinner and like maybe there's dinner there and I can just have dinner and be with my family and everything will be fine. And she like kind of builds this up and then she opens the door and it's dark and there's absolutely nothing there and she's completely alone. And so like, it's just this resiliency of Tianna that I find just like really inspiring because that has to be, I mean, you're 16. That has to be absolutely crushing. Absolutely crushing. And then to pick yourself up again and to go again, right? And to just keep going.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And she keeps doing that in every sense of in every part of the book because she's trying to piece together things. And again, she's at this apartment. She goes and she has the realization, oh my gosh, I'm a squatter. And then that means she's hungry. She has no food. What is she going to do? How did she get here? She's still asking these how and why and what questions. Goes to Hannah. Hannah feeds her. And honestly, I thought Hannah, like immediately I was like, she's no good. I don't trust Hannah. And Hannah's doing the seance and Hannah wants to see her dog. And to her whole, you know, to what you said, where Tianna has just such a good heart where she's like, the least I can do. I have this telekinetic power, I guess. Let me try to move the collar around and let them think. Let her do some healing because she's healing me, if only for the night. And every time she's just like, and then, you know, even when she gets a ride to school with Derek, he's like, oh, I'm going to pick you up. And she's like, oh, I'm going to drive. She's hoping to find answers through Corinne. So I don't know. I think, I mean, that's 16, I guess, that you haven't been completely jaded, that you can keep chasing the hope. And also keep chasing the story, I guess, like the tenacity, because Tianna constantly is like, all right, so tell me what happened to Catty. Tell me what is going on. Tell me about this. I need all of this information. And it is revealed to her through like Corinne and through all of this other gossip that our main characters are weird and Catty is gone and no one knows and they probably lied to the police and she's probably dead and they've all been weird now and they're like kind of like withdrawn and it's strange and it's weird without her and Tiana's like, okay, yeah, clock, okay, yeah. And it is through like a series of misadventures and just like running away from Mason and Justin that Tianna runs into Serena and Jimena at like a poetry reading, and this is when they're interacting for the first time on their own. They read her mind. Serena reads
Tianna's mind. Tianna kind of like knows it. She's really freaked out. She runs away from them. Tianna runs away from them like 3 times before she like really kind of,
I feel like they kind of force her hand.
I do feel that way. But it's also, Tianna has the opportunity to turn away and run with Derek, and she comes back. So that, that kind of plays into at the end. But the book kind of is just Tianna running away from Mason and Justin, trying to find clues about herself and discovering her power. And part of her power is that she is able to, and like the visuals, how cool when she's like she's in the like sheet and she's like staring at the wall, and it like the paint bubbles and like peels away. You can see that.
Yeah. I want to visualize it, but I also know the way they make things now. I mean, we talk about it with the lighting. We've talked about it before with the LA haze, I use in air quotes, that doesn't exist in a lot of productions anymore. And that is essential for this production of this series.
Yeah, you have to have the haze, the golden, you need that. You need the atmosphere. The LEDs wouldn't do it. Oh my gosh. Yes, because they're out on the street a lot. Like there's street lights, there's the neon, the reflections, the trees. Like LA in the early 2000s, like that is just
the shadows.
Yeah, like
but I think this is also when Tianna has she's learning to trust them when she realizes she tries to wish them away and wish them to leave her alone. And she immediately takes it back. Her immediately taking it back, knowing and being curious about her powers, I think shows that she's like, I don't know who I am, but I'm going to be able to trust you a little bit, even though they're kind of infiltrating her mind. And she's like, wait, no, don't do that. Because we ultimately have to have this trust circle with the girls to move forward.
But first, we all must be separated. And that's really important because it happens at the club. It happens at the club. Planet Bang. It was real. These places existed.
I know. I'm laughing, but I know.
I will scream it as they drag me away. They were real. Teen clubs were real.
It was real to me.
It was real to me. No, it really was though. Ours was called Phineas Fogg's. Okay? That was ours. Shut up. They were real. All right. So we have to go to the club. Tianna has to go to the club. She's got her outfit. She's in a sequin sweater vest and a maxi skirt, I think, slit up to her thighs with boots. Yeah. Slay Queen. We love that. And we go. In we go. We're dancing. We're loving it. We see Michael. We're loving it. It's Thursday night. We're loving it. We see Derek. We're confused. We understand then that Vanessa, Derek, and Michael were all working together to play matchmaker for Derek and Tianna.
Poor Tianna. Poor our memory loss queen, right? She's like, Michael is feeling me, don't know why, even though he has a girlfriend. Like, I'm so confused. Derek is all up my ass. I'm so annoyed by him. And here we have Michael saying, like, I don't like to play matchmaker, but, like, I think you and my friend would be really cute together.
Vanessa's like, yeah,
like, you guys would be so cute together. And, like, but he thought that too, and we kind of all thought that, but something changed on Wednesday, and you're like, yeah, she lost her fucking memory, and that's not currently her type. But you just know she's like, this is not what I thought. But then Derek comes and he's like, hey, hope you don't mind. I had my friend, like hands in pockets, Chad Michael Murray style from the 2000s.
Scuffing the feet a little bit.
I'm going to be like hunched
shucks.
over a little bit. Yeah, like I hope you don't mind that I asked my bro to like talk to you for me. Like, but again, to what you said earlier, it's like this is 16. This is high school.
This is how it's done.
Happens. This is how it happens. Now, if that happened, I'd be like, fuck out of here. If you can't talk to me yourself, then no, I do have a problem with that. But this is high school and this is teen night. This is teen night on Thirsty Thursday. And she's like, and he goes, and he's talking to her and he was like, I know we could have met up at Starbucks for coffee. But your cousins met up with me. And she's like, cousins? What do you mean my cousins? And he goes, yeah, and they've been trying to talk to you. And I said, they were telling me how sometimes you're stubborn. Obviously, I get that. I know you. And I told them that you were going to be here tonight and that, you guys can like work things out with all like the family drama. And she's like, who are my cousins? Already, hair on the back of her neck is already prickling because she's like, don't fucking tell me. It's these two guys who have been chasing me. And lo and behold, it is. And she's like, those aren't my cousins. And now we gotta escape.
We gotta escape, and they don't escape. They get captured. They get captured and thrown into like a basement, like a gross, like moss-covered, spider-ridden, wet, muddy brick basement. And it is only through Tianna's power that she's able to like safely escape and to get Derek out of there. And the basement like collapses. It's like this whole thing, and they have to escape. And then they're like captured again. And then they wake up on the beach. And it is like in this like beach situation that it is important to flash back to more plot, where there is this confrontation between Vanessa, Serena, and Jimena and Tianna, where everybody kind of comes clean and is like, look, where's Catty? And Tiana's like, hey, man, I think she's in this other dimension. I was able to like stare at the paint peeled off. I went into like this gray soupy world, and this person was there, and she told me to get out. She told me her name was Catty. She told me to stay away. She told me all these conflicting things. And they're like, cool.
And also help me. I'm Catty.
Yeah. And everyone is like, okay, cool. Take us there. And Tiana's like, I don't think that's a good idea. All of you go. I don't think and they're like, shut up, take us. And then they go and are immediately separated. And Tianna eventually gets everybody back together, and they're about to escape, and only Tianna escapes. And that is kind of how Tianna ends up alone, ends up recaptured on the beach with Derek. And it is only through Derek's like random understanding of like quantum mechanics and physics,
as some 16-year-old boys have
they, that is true. Sometimes they do hyperfixate, and that is knowledge that they would have.
I'm like, that also is not an exaggeration.
And he kind of like floats the theory to Tianna that all of the dimensions are kind of woven together, and like they're separate, but they're together. And so in this ceremony ritual situation that Tianna and Derek are being forced into because they're about to be quote quote crossed over by the followers, that Tianna have realized that they are the ones that killed her parents and her sister. It's all full circle for Tianna. But Derek floats the idea that the universes are woven together. So in this exact moment, Tianna can go get the goddesses that are stuck on the other side of like the veil, essentially, and bring them all over so that the Aatrox, remember this is the Aatrox, doesn't get them, because if they get all of them, then the Aatrox wins, and we can't have that. So through quantum mechanics and physics and universe weaving, I don't know, they pull them out.
You know what I just thought of? With our powers combined. I am Captain Planet.
Well, something that I was thinking about, that's interesting you bring that up. Something that I was thinking about is, so after all the goddesses are reunited, right? All four of them, because Catty comes too. They're reunited, and Jimena is like, we've been wanting to fight this many members of the Aatrox. Let's see how we do. Well, they're fucking losing. And I find it interesting that they lose a lot. Like, our goddesses lose a lot. They never, like, win outright. And it is only through Tianna's, because Tianna runs away. Tianna's like, this is not my fight. I did what I was supposed to do. I reunited the goddesses. They're doing what they need to do. I'm going to get the fuck out of here with Derek. And it is only through Tianna's, like, kind of guilt and like, damn, they are losing. They're losing bad. And Derek being like, you should do something. Use your power. That she's like, I guess I should, like, save them. I guess I should save them, which is like, I guess, like, the plot of the book and kind of showing that, like, power in numbers and everything. But again, our four main goddesses are reunited and they are losing badly. And, like, I know there's conditions, right? It's like the dark, we're almost at the dark of the moon, all of this stuff. But you'd think they'd win a little bit.
Well, I mean, I'm going to pose the question, but I'm not going to look at you. But just knowing that we have six other books. 6 other books. Maybe it goes to 12 or 13. I have to think at least we get a happily ever after. Like, finally, we're getting, like, more daughters. Maybe there's, like, a spoiler Buffy situation where all of the, I'm looking not at you, Laura, like, where everybody gets activated and, like, takes over the Aatroxes.
Well, okay, so I am going to answer that question by reading the synopsis of book 7, and I'm going to do that at the end of the episode, because that will answer your question.
Okay.
And, well, a little bit, but also be like, I'm interested. Okay. So Tianna has to go save everybody, because that's the climax of this book. She creates a sandstorm. She throws a sandstorm at the Aatrox. She kind of, like, suffocates everybody, and the Aatrox run off, and the goddesses come. They're like, oh my God, you saved us. You saved us. Oh my God. Oh my God. And she's like, yeah, okay, bye. And they're like, yeah, actually, no. Come with us. We're going to take you, and we are going to basically shower first. we're gonna shower first, and then we're gonna tell Maggie everything that happens, and then Tianna, you are going to become an official goddess of the moon, which is a crazy thing. And a wonderful, like, precedent that is established, because I really like the conversation that they have. Because after everybody is showered and, the story is told and everybody's on the same page, everything happens, Catty gets a new necklace, and then Maggie gives Tianna a necklace. And they ask her, they're like, look, the 4 of us were, like, not given a choice. We have to do this. Selene, the goddess, is, like, basically deifying you because of your, like, good choices and everything. So, like, do you want this? You kind of, like, have a choice, where the other girls, like, didn't have a choice. And Tianna, like, takes ownership of herself, and she, like, accepts this. And she says, like, yes, I'll be a goddess, and, like, it feels right, and all of this stuff. And that is the conclusion of, like, found family number 1, right?
Number 1. Well, yeah, because you have, yes.
Number 1. And that's kind of reinforced when Maggie is like, okay, no, everybody needs to go home and, like, rest and everything. And Tianna goes, confession again, I have nowhere to go. And Maggie goes, actually, you do. You have to go to Mary, and I'll go with you. How about that? Tianna goes back to Mary and the family that's there, and she is welcomed, and she goes to sleep, and she says, goddess, it feels right. It feels right. And that's the end of the book. It is, like, 279. Yeah. It is. And it is fast. Mine is 74. Goddess, she remembered the word felt so right. And then the rest of it is don't mix the next, Goddess, Daughters of the Moon book, Moon Demon. So obviously fantastic, obviously necessary. You need this. And it would be such a good, like, little filler episode, like a little, or a mid-season finale, all of that stuff. All right. The synopsis of book 7. All right, just to give you.
Please read aloud.
I will read aloud. Okay. Vanessa's 16th birthday is coming up. Well, most girls would be thrilled at the prospect. Vanessa dreads being 1 year closer to making the most important decision of her life. Now she is beginning to doubt everything she holds true, her friends, her relationship with Michael, and even her identity. Then she meets Hector, who's even more exciting and dangerous than anyone else she knows. Through him, she learns a side of herself that she never knew existed.
Oh my God, this would be so good if we watched oh my God,
right?
Because this is Hector would come into the picture at this moment in your life where you're just questioning everything. You're like, I'm gonna be a bad girl and do the opposite of what I've always known.
It just sounds fantastic, doesn't it?
So good.
Now, it is worth mentioning that there are other spin-offs that Lynn Ewing did, including the Sons of Isis and everything. And I believe Hector is part of that.
That's the boys series.
Yeah, it's one of the other boys series. So I believe, I'm not 100% sure on that. I didn't go that far, but how fun, right? Can you just, and Vanessa's on the cover of book 7 again, and it's blue and just, ethereal and fantastic. And you can just the drama, it's just so amazing. I do feel a little sad for people that teens nowadays don't have books like this. But again, I don't think they would appreciate this. I feel you kind of needed to live this to actually understand that this is not a far-fetched plot, that things like this, obviously the magic part, but
you don't know. You aren't, maybe you're just not a daughter of the moon, so you don't know yet.
That's true. I never got any of my magical anything. Oh my gosh. But I think the teenage experience here is so real. And the teenage experience now is so different that this is kind of like a relic of the times before, technology really took over and changed the teenage experience for a lot of people. And that is crazy because these kids did not have cell phones. They did not have Find Your Friend. They did not have their parents calling and checking in on them. They were off on their own borrowing cars. They were out. They were outside.
They were outside and not being questioned and not being tracked where they were. To an extent too, because at some points they're oh, I gotta be home by 8. Curfews existed, but sometimes they're just out. Again, we say it was a time, it was a place. I think I've seen comments on socials saying oh yeah, it was a time and a place. Now we're getting tracked because you all know what you were up to. Our generation invented, I always say this about my niece. I was I want a chip in her. If I was able to put a microchip in her, she could take it out when she's 18. But I just want to know, because we know what we were doing at these ages, what we were doing, what we were being exposed to, what we were exposing ourselves to, because nobody can tell you different when you're that age.
No, nobody can tell you anything when you're 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh my gosh. And I'm looking, and book 7 of Daughters of the Moon is called Moon Demon. Obviously, I read the back. It's Vanessa's book, and it came out in 2002. So it came out after, significantly after book 6. And that's fun too. I love this running series. I love that there were so many. Fearless is the same way. It was just this. It was, books were different. Books were different back then.
How I know we've read book 6. We still have a lot to go. Do you have a favorite one in the series? Have we read it already? Are we still leading up to it?
We're still leading up to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're still leading up to it. The decision that the girls have to make, either disperse into nothing or lose everything, is a crazy decision, and we get there. And I like when the thing happens.
I was going to say, leading up to the thing happening. Can I share a quote that I loved at the beginning of the book?
Absolutely.
I did the bad thing. I dog-eared the page because I didn't want to forget it. But I love right away that you understand to an extent what kind of person Tianna is, because she goes, somebody's asking her, how would you feel with every guy? How could you feel down with every guy in school trying to hook up with you? She looked away. A guy's not always the answer. In fact, I don't think he ever is.
Queen shit. Preach it louder, Tianna. Louder. And remember, this is after Tianna has discovered that she's absolutely drop dead gorgeous.
And does it and is not insecure. She's not like, she goes, I'm a knockout. I'm hot as hell. And we love that confidence queen.
And that is only after Derek says to her face twice that he admires that she doesn't care about her looks. And she's like, what do you mean? Where's the bathroom? What do I look like?
I know. She's like, he goes, oh, no. And then when he says it again and he doubled down, she goes, now you're on to something.
She's like, you said it twice. What is this bullshit that you're on? Like, it's so good. It's so good. I really love this book. I love this series. I love what it brings. I love the girlhood, the femininity. And specifically in this one, I love the like, I'm going to say crone, but that's not what I mean. Like the grandmother, mother figure that is represented here specifically. I just really love that. I love competent mother figures that are looking out for you and are doing all of the right things, that are apologizing, that are saying, I believe you. I believe you. You know, more of that in media and less of parents that are checked out and disinterested in their child's lives. I understand that that is necessary for like plot devices so that the children can be outside having these adventures. But competency is nice.
I do too, but I also think it comes from, writing what you know. So I think, a lot of people say it, and I think you can see the pattern with a lot of recent Pixar movies specifically is the healing generational trauma. You're trying to heal yourself, healing through like bullying and, generational trauma and mental health. And I feel like that's what we're writing, and we're all trying to heal from that. And there was probably, I think the next generation who is really spearheading media, you'll see a lot of that healthy parenting, because I think that that's our generation who is doing a lot of the self-healing so we don't pass it on to different generations. So I think it's going to be great. That being said, feel free to follow us on ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura, ACOFAE Jessica, and feel free to follow us on YouTube and rate us 5 stars on any of your listening platforms. We will talk to y'all soon. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.